Are we live? I think we're live. Welcome to today's vlog, I hope you're well. It feels very weird, very foreign talking to a camera. I basically backlogged a few of my vlogs. So I haven't actually picked up a camera in about 3 weeks, which has been most peculiar, some would say. But nonetheless, nice to get back to it. Isn't it nice? A fresh new year. The Christmas tree is down, no clutter in the house, no weird like snowman, Santas, no bells, no weird glitter, no weird bows just hanging around kind of all over the floor. But anyway, welcome to 2022. Now, my transitions are still on point, we're still sharp like that. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, so what's going to be changing? Not a lot really. But one thing is going to change slightly with the vlogs. We're going to be having two vlogs per week as normal. One of them is going to be a bit like this, a bit raw, or not really raw, quite edited. And then we'll get into a few topics that way. And then also we'll go into kind of training styles of videos. So you'll probably get one of these like on the Wednesday, and then on the Sunday you're probably going to get something like a raw kind of either mic'd up or voiced over, or just completely raw, with the Rode mic on, bits of training. I really want to showcase like kind of the training aspect of it a lot more this year, because I feel like a lot of the time it can get a little bit too kind of airy-fairy in the fact that like you see someone obtain a physique and then you're kind of questioning like why and how did that happen and what did they do along the way, and you kind of get an aspect into both styles of vlogs. You kind of get an aspect of, right, okay, well Jack's this is how he sets up his nutrition maybe one day, and then the next day this is how he trains, and you can really get a kind of a clear standpoint or a clear view of how I'm potentially, hopefully, going to obtain my pro card, because this is the year that I'm going to be chasing that for sure. So yeah, follow along the journey. Hey, and speaking of meals, I'm due a meal because I've been sat at this desk for 6 hours. So we should eat. Let's go. Also, this is shite. Welcome to the meal. You're welcomed. But this is my second meal of the day. We have got 2 bagels, we have got a Muller rice, we have got some protein, and then we've got some blueberries in the fridge. And that's meal 2, but I got a lot of clapback, or some clapback, on my previous vlog regarding massing tips and saying that people are hard gainers, when the obvious answer is to eat more. But isn't that the very point of being a hard gainer, is that you can't eat more? Jesus Christ. This will also be my pre-workout. I'm training with Wally today, which I haven't trained with Wally in about 4 weeks, which should be very good. I'm planning to absolutely fucking destroy his legs. I'm not. I'm gonna be nice. But yeah, no, we're gonna be training with Wally, and then we're gonna get into the topic of this vlog. Okay, so yeah, we kind of killed Ollie. That was probably the worst session to go back or like come back into the gym. If you were to come back into the gym, and I said, what's the worst workout you could pick? It would be this one. It's a woozy banger, but we're starting off with Y raises. We're basically prioritizing delts. We're gonna push my quads and my arms on the backbone in this mesocycle. Delts and shoulders, delts and shoulders, that's the same thing. Delts and back are gonna kind of take over priority. Although last mesocycle, my volume was rock bottom low, and both my quads, hamstrings, and also biceps, triceps did grow. Anyway, the subject of this topic is going to be talking over rep ranges, kind of a brief overview of the rules and regulations, and we'll get into that in a minute. There is none, so there's no like set rules of programming, just as an FYI. But where is it appropriate to have higher rep ranges and where is it appropriate to have lower rep ranges. Now, a general rule of thumb is going to be to have higher rep ranges, you're going to prompt smaller muscle groups, and then lower rep ranges, you're going to prompt kind of compound, bigger muscles, stuff like RDL, stuff like squats, stuff like deadlifts, like trying to do like a 20 to 30 rep range of either of them. Kind of can happen. Again, there's no rules and regulations here, but does it make the most sense? Arguably not. However, there's a nuanced discussion in these kind of terms, saying that we could arguably do both here. So with something like, especially if you're hitting the muscle group twice a week, there is an argument of programming, say, one day as like a light day, and one as like a higher rep day, right? Basically covering all aspects of type 1 and type 2 muscle fibers. Now you have to understand that obviously working in a lower rep range, there's going to be more systemic fatigue, because ultimately you're going to be working with higher loads. So there's a definite trade-off. If you've got your whole program set to a low rep range scheme, understand that you might be missing a little bit of hypertrophy because you probably can't push volume where it needs to be, if that's appropriate. You also might not be kind of tapping into the type 1 muscle fibers that potentially could be taxed at a higher rep range. So there's definitely a workaround here. We could technically, especially if we have more than one set of everything, we could technically do like a top and back off set. So a top would be a loading set and a back off would be a back off in a higher rep range. So we could basically, on every single exercise that we have, we could work it in that range and cover both type 1 and type 2 muscle fibers. Now, how much type 2 muscle fibers are going to be in your biceps or calves or something? Not really that much. So if there is like that kind of thought process in place, that do we need a top and back off sets for like calves, triceps, potentially stuff like delts, so we're talking about lat raises, potentially not. I think when it comes down to rep range schemes in the kind of smaller muscle group realm, we're looking at stuff like metabolite techniques such as myo reps, such as like drop sets, such as muscle rounds, like trying to think of anything else, cluster sets as well. We're kind of looking for that realm, which I'm actually doing with this adductor machine right now. I'm actually doing a 30 rep cluster set, which will basically be going into a 30 rep cluster set. So basically I have to do 30 reps in one set. So I could do like 10, then like 5, then maybe like 10 again, and then 5. That would add up to 30, so that's great. But yeah, you can basically do that. But understand, like, adductors in a low rep range, you're kind of working that low rep range with stuff like RDL. So there's a lot of different thought processes that goes on with rep range schemes, and this might seem all over the place, but that's essentially like that. This is great focus, by the way. Phenomenal. What happens with my camera is if something's like in frame, like if I go like this, then I will no longer be in frame, but the CodeCam will, and that's what's happened here. Anyway, so yeah, like the rep range discussion can go on for hours and hours and hours, but essentially we'll just give you some like takeaway points, because that's what we do. So very generally, things in a higher rep range to consider, or to push into that higher rep range, stuff like biceps, again, metabolite techniques there as well, stuff like triceps, stuff like delts, specifically like lat raises, stuff like calves, kind of in the higher rep range as well. And then you could do things like, oh look, it's started to focus. Then you could do stuff like leg extensions, etc. in the higher rep range, because obviously like high rep range kind of leg presses might not make the most sense. So there's a few kind of guidelines to go through, and understand like you can have high and low rep ranges kind of with the same muscle group. Again, like the example there is like a higher rep range for something like a leg extension, and maybe potentially a low rep range for something like a squat or a leg press or something. So yeah, that's something to consider just from a fatigue management standpoint, because again, if you've got low rep ranges the whole time, your CNS is going to be pretty fucking fried. But yeah, I did tell you this this workout was juicy. We're already like, we had the Y raises, we had the rear delt row, we had the adductor or calf raise, adductor, leg curl, and then leg extension. These are all no more than 2 sets, by the way. Some of these are actually done in a top and back off set as well, which is the leg extension and the leg curl were both done in a loading and and back off set. But essentially what we're trying to do with rep ranges is we're trying to grab stimulus and work both muscle fibers, whilst also at the same time managing fatigue. Because we can talk about like managing fatigue in terms of like intensity, in terms of volume management, in terms of like sleep, hydration, nutrition, and all that kind of, all of these different things. The thing that doesn't really get spoken about that much is the art of programming. So whether that's to do with kind of exercise selection, or whether that's to do with rep range kind of manipulations, right? Because that, in my opinion, that's what that's what kind of taps into recovery the most is something like inappropriate rep range schemes. So for example, if okay, we won't tell you the coach, but I had a new client on board the other day, and most of their rep schemes in the kind of compound situation were in the kind of 2 to 4 rep range, and then he kind of wondered why he was so kind of a little bit fucked all the time. And that's kind of what rep ranges will do if you program really too low all the time. Like 2 to 4 rep leg extensions is actually why I'm doing this vlog now, so like you can get a kind of basic understanding. Like if your coach gives you something stupid, you can basically be like, oh, okay, maybe Jack said that is stupid, maybe assess that. But yeah, these were disgusting, by the way. I think I'm just gonna throw up because I'm recalling this moment of terror. Anyway, I think we've basically spoken about the topic of rep ranges. But yeah, a general massing update. Now we've got the time, we've got like 2 minutes to go, but a general massing update is weight is sitting at 84, which I'm very happy about. Body composition right now, I might even put up on screen while you watch me down a leg press, but yeah, like body composition's holding very well. Like performance is just fucking astronomical. I'm just fresh off a deload. This is actually my first leg session back of the deload. Training's got manipulated a little bit in terms of, again, the priority towards my delts, and then reducing in kind of bicep and tricep volume, and quad and hamstring volume. But you understand that you can still grow in this phase. Like if you train like this, you can still grow with low volume set numbers. I think that people really heavily misunderstand the concept of like volume, because they're like, fuck, you're only doing like 4 sets a week of quads, and it's like how they're growing. It's impossible. It's not if you train like appropriately, right? So yeah, nutrition is, I had a deload last week, sat at maintenance, and then pushed back up now. So I was at 3,000 calories, I'm now at 3,000, kind of 300 to 3,500, around that kind of scheme. And yeah, like life stress is low, sleep's very good, and things are just moving in a really positive direction. Now it's just a case of kind of having that snowball effect go all the way till July, and hopefully present a phenomenal kind of physique come like October, because that's a really big driving focus at the minute. Every time like I wake up, I think about that kind of stepping on stage. I think about like, and it sounds really cliche, I used to hate when people used to say that, because I found it really fucking cheesy. But now understanding that goal, I'm kind of like, I kind of know what that driving force is all about. Like, again, I wake up every morning and I think, fuck, I've got to eat this meal because I've got to get to that goal. I've got to like train like this. I'm in the workout and I'm like, I've got to train like this because I've got to get to that goal. So yeah, I never really understood it until I obviously fucking did it. But yeah, anyway, I'll leave you to your day. Make sure you like, you share and you subscribe. And yeah, I'll speak to you very soon.